and welcome to another episode of the Complete Agent Podcast, where each week we get together to talk all things estate agency. My name is David Warburton, and as ever, I'm joined by my colleagues in the industry, James Kendall and Ian Story. Say hello, Ian.
Hello. Barn conversion.
Yeah, you might have guessed there. That was James Kendall. Ian is not with us this week. I don't even know what he's doing. What is he actually doing?
He's got called away in an emergency. I mean, we've not been. The tripod hasn't been there, is it? The last couple of weeks, for various reasons. Yeah, me, you, and Ian.
Oh yeah. Of course.
It's three legs.
It's been a bit of a mixed week. Some bad reviews last week. I don't know what that was down to. Oh, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
best pod ever.
It was actually a great podcast, by the way, lads.
Yeah.
I keep saying lads, Ian's not here. It was a great.
Cheers, Dave.
Podcast. No, I thought it was really good value. Sound quality lacking.
AirPods.
AirPods don't work, but really good value added by Matthew there.
Yeah, he's a great guy, really knowledgeable.
Yeah, we've connected on Instagram, and I've been eyeing up a lot of his stuff. It's good. He's a good agent, very proactive, and I've just thought some of the insights into the higher end of the market, the super prime market. Very, very interesting insight. Very interesting.
I do think it is interesting. Because it's what we do. I guess could be considered prime, which is sexy, and then you've got the next level up, which is super sexy, which is your 10 millions, your sheikh coming from Dubai and buying cash. So it's I thought it was really insightful, and I think it was interesting to hear. I thought direct mail might be really good for super prime, and he said he didn't think it was so much because obviously a lot of the time people don't live there.
Yeah, of course, and they're so busy. I always remember Ryan Serhant saying he was asked a question about how many billionaires he's done deals with or met or something like that, and he's met loads of billionaires, obviously the type of job he does, and he just said one of the things that is really important to them is time.
Yeah,
and they don't have it. So he rarely speaks to them, he said, unless it's something really important. It's very much communication by text message or whatever, WhatsApp, and they're always one word answers back, he said.
Yeah.
Like he might write he started off writing long-winded text and he'd get one word answers back, and he quickly learned that just get to the point, mate.
I'm okay with that though as well. Like I really like text, and then there was that stat that came from Street when we were there the other week and on Heather's slide about I think 90% of people under 30 won't answer the phone if you haven't got their number your number in their phone. But also people prefer to communicate by text messaging services. People don't like picking up the phone.
Agreed. Yeah.
Which and I think that most people should build that into their offering, but also equally in the mid to upper end, a lot of the times your homeowners are 40 to 50 plus. So, they will appreciate the phone call and the old fashioned service. It's worth noting that as well. So how's your week been, mate?
Not bad actually. We've had I've had some mixed in a way, but overall really positive. So I say mixed because I've had one faller this week, which is a £970,000 house. Ouch. So the fee's obviously quite dodgy. But I mean, obviously, when you're at the sort of mid to higher end and you've got multiple, it's going to happen, isn't it? So it's just everything's relevant. And I've got one sort of teetering on the edge. We're doing our best to try and keep that one together. So one, possibly two, we'll see. But all good. 4 great listings at 1.25 million, 875, 1 million, 1.25 again. Those are all good, and we've done some great viewings as well over the last week on certain properties, and I think we've talked about this over the last few weeks anyway. But I think people we know because the stock levels, but people are taking a bit of time to make decisions.
Yeah.
So I've got some really good activity. 2 I can see there. 1 we've just sale agreed at 715,000, which was nice. Some on the Relocate brand as well that have been sale agreed this week. And I got an offer last night on one of my new listings. It's been on less than a week. It's on at Mill.
Nice.
It's at 9. So I'm just going to try and we've got a bit of work to do, but I think there's something there. So overall, mate, I'm quite pleased. I mean, my diary's mental. I think, as you know, I like lower volume. I think we've booked 29 valuations this month, which I like. Take that every month. good enough for me. And lots of people from last year now coming forward. And I was reviewing the diary with Kate yesterday, sort of what take-ons we've got booked in, and it's about to go mental, I think.
Nice.
For us, which is a nice place to be. But I might have to get a couple of days holiday in before I, get on this. So overall, mate, not bad at all. What about you?
Yeah, interesting week actually. This month we've been a little bit light on sales, to be honest. We've got a few bits and pieces happening. I think we're only on 6 sales, which doesn't sound great, but however, average fee is just over 10 grand. So it's not disastrous, but by any stretch. But we've got, to put it into context, things that we're working on at the moment. We've got a couple of offers we've got on the table. We've got one at 550. We're trying to wrap up. Who wants to buy one through us at 760? We've got another one at 950, which we've got 2 second viewings on that want to buy one through us at 1.4. What else have we got? They're the ones immediately to the top of my head. Obviously, the big focus for us this month as well has been exchanges. We've had a lot of people this month going through all sorts of different phases and crazy. For example, we've got one particular sale at the moment where the seller has to sell financially, and the other day they said, "No, I'm going to pull out. I'm done. See you later." And I said to them, "You have no choice but to complete by this date.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to put you in breach, of your contract elsewhere." And he said, "Well, I'm going to sell my house to a house buying company. They've offered me X for it, and I can have the money in 7 days." I said, "Let me tell you what happens with that." I said, "If you look online and read the reviews," I said, they'll back everything up I'm saying, but your house is worth, let's just say, arguably 500 grand. And you've got, a deal going through at 500, they'll offer you 480 online, and then a surveyor will come round, a quote unquote surveyor, from the business, and they'll offer you 400.
Yeah.
But by that point, you've pulled out on your buyers and lost your chain that is ready to exchange within a couple of days, and then you're then 100 grand down.
Yeah.
And "Oh, I don't care, blah, blah, blah," hung up, like very heated conversation. Well, not from my side, certainly, but I was just like, look, let's just deal in the facts. This is where you're going to be. If you do this and it goes through, this is what's going to happen. If you don't and you do this, this is what's going to happen. And he didn't like the truth. And I was like, that's the reality. So, bottom line is, he came back to me the next day and sort of said, "Look, apologies for yesterday. It's all getting a bit much. This, that, and the other. Hopefully we can. If you can go back to the buyers, we'll continue." Obviously, I never told the buyers this because why would you? Experience is gold when it comes to those situations. Sorry, mate, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think people generally need to calm down sometimes, don't they? The one that we've got teetering on the edge, as I mentioned, it's so bizarre. We've had it sale agreed for a while, and it's a very old house. And survey came back. There's a few things, but the owners are sort of saying, like they do, we've been here for nearly 20 years. The owners before that were here for 35 years. It hasn't moved. It's just something potentially structural and all that sort of stuff. So they don't want to do anything. And then it's the usual. The guys had a survey done, but he's not willing to release the survey. And you kind of like, well, it's so frustrating. You say to him, what is the alternative?
Yeah.
You don't give the survey to the owner. You're definitely not getting any form of reduction at all or any works done to the property. Or you keep the survey for this house that's worthless now. What are you going to do? Sell it on eBay? That's what's it's ridiculous. So we've got that, and we managed to renegotiate slightly. The owner was happy to come down 15 grand, I think it was. All moving forward fine. And then he starts taking more builders round, and one of them, unbeknownst to the owners, because they were abroad at the time, and they saw him on the security cameras, they just took someone round.
Oh, really? What, on the outside?
Yeah, and it's a big house. The house is actually not that massive, but the grounds are huge. It's 2.5 acres, and they could see them, and they messaged them and because they've swapped numbers, which is always frustrating. But and he's now almost at the end, sort of saying, right, we want all this doing, and it's like a snag list, sending it forward, and there's about another 50 grand's worth of work, and it's just started to get a bit heated, and he's in a position now where he's got to make a decision by the weekend. But they just, they're frustrating, and at first he was venting to Kate on the phone yesterday or the day before, whatever it was. Cools down, goes away, and starts considering what they're going to do. So I think there's always that initial sort of blow up, isn't there? Nope, I'm not doing that. I will pull out if it doesn't happen today. And it's just about managing the expectations, I think, of managing the situation, diffusing it a lot of the time. And it just takes I always say, tone of voice in these situations is so important. Tone of voice is so
Chris
important.
Voss.
In everything, really. Yeah, Chris Voss, he's great as well. Do you want to make reference to that book if people haven't read it?
Yeah. I just never split the difference. There's and I would say it's a great book if you want to read it, but I would not recommend reading it. I would recommend listening to it on Audible. Yeah, just because there's things in context that you're not going to get from a book rather. Whereas when you're actually listening to, does he read it or is it Taz Ral? I can't remember who it is.
I think he was in it. He did it as well.
Maybe it was both of them, but yeah, there's sections like the late night DJ voice. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about nice and slow. And when things like an example of when you're in a hotel. And how you position things and label things, and if you walk into a hotel and let's say, for example, the check-in isn't till 3:00 in the afternoon and you've arrived at 1:00. And the way that he frames it is, you walk up to the reception desk and you say, hey, I am going to be the worst customer that you've experienced today. I am so, so sorry. And automatically the brain of the person behind the counter is thinking,
that's right.
Who's died in the room? Like, is there fleas? What's the infestation? Every possible worst eventuality is going through their brain. And then you position it and you say, check it isn't till 3. It's 1:00 and I really need to get in my room. Can you sort that out for me? Or what can you do for me? And automatically they've gone from, oh my God, there's a dead body in the room. We're going to get the police and we're going to need to get it all cordoned off. And all the way to, oh yeah, I'll get you in. There's that room's free there. Yeah, no problem. And it's those things. It's great for negotiation, but it's just, life is one big negotiation, isn't it? And I think there's so many different things that are relatable to that just made me, and you're totally right, mate. It's a great point. How you speak to, it's sometimes, and this is the other thing we were talking earlier about text and text messages. This is where text messaging, and also I think your team probably need a lesson sometimes. There's certain members in my team that I've had to pull up on things because they're not au fait with how text messaging language works. So they've written things in capitals and like inverted commas, and it that could be construed as shouting. Yeah. Also sarcasm. And then somebody else can read that the other way. Have you seen that? Is it Peel and Keys? Is it the American show?
What's that?
Is it called Peel? I'm sure it's called Peel and Keys or something like that.
Key and Peele.
Key and Peele. That's it. Yeah. Have you seen the text message conversation? Like that's a really good example of text conversation.
And then they meet up and they're all absolutely fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will see you later. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It is good. You should post that on the link. Actually, it's quite funny.
That's a really good example of that.
But it is. It's a comedic way of showing how ridiculous it can get taken. Things can get taken out of hand when it is a text message.
Yeah.
Because we've all had them where we read them and go, is he or she pissed off with me there? Or it's very tone of voice. That's why I think voice notes are brilliant.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But because again, that tone of voice is there, isn't it? You can. I had one yesterday where I was sort of talking about the different price points that they can go on at, and I want them to be on a bit lower than the market value because they need a quick sale. So I wanted to sort of get across my point that you're not doing this to sell low. It's all about attracting interest, and
we need to take you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. All that sort of stuff. So, I think that tone of voice is critical.
And that's a good
critical.
lesson as well, mate. Just to reiterate, anyone that's listening to this, but also deciding when a text is appropriate, when a voice note's appropriate, and when a call's appropriate.
Yeah.
Don't hide away from the, eat the frog, I think is the phrase. Don't hide away from doing the shit that needs to be done. Sometimes you've got to make a shitty call. Don't text and say, "Oh, BTW, your buyer's pulled out, LOL." You just you just wouldn't do that, would you?
No.
It's a conversation to be had, because people are always going to be emotive and obviously on tenterhooks to when it comes to selling.
I think just not delivering negative news on a text message, whether it's poor feedback, whether it's a fallen sale, whatever it is, poor anything like that. Tone of voice is important.
Yeah.
So I would encourage.
A little bit of a tangent there, but a good tangent. I think there was a lot of value in that part there.
How's your week been, Ian? Great. So loads of
yeah. Do you know what's really funny is we've listed 4 barn conversions.
I know. What's going on there?
No idea, but went there yesterday. Shot one yesterday. Really looking forward to launching that one there, because the seller there is really deflated. Right. Listed, had no interest. I'll tell you what is interesting about my week as well. We'll kind of come on to what we were talking about pre-pod. But interesting week for me this week as well, positive and negative. So obviously listed quite a few, got some really nice ones coming on. Let's say listed a barn at 950 that's just gone live. We've got a couple of viewings on and a second viewing. We've got a barn that we shot yesterday. Jack's actually there now with the drone, because it was a bit of a nightmare yesterday. We just ended up spending so long there. It's 4,100 square feet, but it's all most of it's open plan, so you don't feel like it's as big as it is. Listed that. Got another nice cottage coming on 2/3 of an acre that we've shot. That's really nice. It was a really good week for listings. I lost a listing that we had on the market, and it was a lesson learned, really. I think we obviously talked. Ian talked about the other week you doing a deal on fees and stuff, and I did a deal on waiving the upfront fee because I liked the house. We got all the marketing done, and then the seller changed the price, so we went from like 1.3 to 1.5.
Hate that.
Yeah, really frustrating that was. Anyway, cut a long story short, we've been marketing for best part of 3 weeks with no interest, and it's really quite a niche sale at that price as well. And bottom line is, he turned around to me and said, "Well, I think we need to be in London." And I said, "Well, we are in London." It's online. We've got the TCA network. We've got the other off-market network as well. Talking about Matthew Addison Smith, that network of WhatsApp groups of agents that connected in the sort of prime and super prime space. And I showed him everywhere it's being promoted. I said, it is price. It's not it's not marketing. It's a market. Anyway, there's another agent that his friends had sold through elsewhere, who are a national agent, rhymes with Ravels, and they have an extensive buyer database and network, and they conduct searches for people in London of high net worth, blah 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 blah. So I said, you know what, that's brilliant news. Why don't we work together? They can use their extensive network and their buyer search, and if they bring anyone through, I'll put him right into you now. I will step aside and I won't try and claim a fee. And he went, "Oh, okay, brilliant. That sounds good." Went back to them. No. We want to put it on Rightmove. Oh, but I thought they had that extensive buying network in London. Yeah, but they want full control of the sale. Well, yeah, but they'll get full control of the sale when they introduce their fictional buyers from London. Anyway, I just said, look, end of the day, it's not me, it's not marketing, it's price. You obviously need to go through this this journey and try this. I'll step aside, I'll release you from the contract, and you can crack on. Anyway, so agents launched it with average photos, average floor plan, no video marketing, No, I mean, we could debate about premium listings and featured properties, but given that this is a national agent, no featured property or premium listing or anything, no social media presence. And, it's gone live. And, I texted him the other day and said, how's it going? And he was like, yeah, quite a bit of interest happening. So no viewings in.
Oh, God. How long's it been on?
It's now been on just over a week now. I think we took it off Wednesday. But, I said to him, look, and I rang him up and I said, look, bottom line is you need to go through this journey and satisfy yourself that this is all fictional. I can't tell you because I'm just an agent and you'll think I'm going to try and tell you what you want to hear to suit my narrative. But let me put the proof in the pudding, put my money where my mouth is. You do this and then don't reduce the price with them. Come on at my price in, 4 weeks' time. And we'll sell it. Simple as. So, ideally 7 weeks we'll want, so we can obviously relaunch it as a new home online. But yeah, it's just frustrating sometimes where you pull out all of your tricks in your arsenal. And I've had this before where other agents have said they've got buyers and this, that, and the other, and we've offered a fee split, and the buyers have never materialised, or they've just thrown somebody into the mix to show them round to look like it was real. I showed them round and they were like, I don't even know why we're looking for a bungalow. This is a 3-story house.
I do think though sometimes, Jake, I mean, we've all had those and we'll continue to get those. Some vendors just need to satisfy it themselves, don't they? Go and do it and take it elsewhere and go through that process, even though we know that it's not likely to have any impact. And I think the key there is, unless the relationship's gone for whatever reason, whether it's a difficult client, or what, you just remain professional.
Yeah,
I understand this is what you want to do. Great, you keep in touch with them like you would have done anyway, and if they want to come back, great. You'll get them again at the second bite of the cherry. I mean, we had a great case of that probably I think a couple of years ago, and exactly the same sort of thing happened. They just said, look, thanks for everything. The house looks great, your video's great, and all that sort of stuff. This was on our other brand, on the mid-range brand. We just feel like we need a fresh approach. They had so many viewings and the feedback was just consistent. It had a pathway going down the back that didn't give you enough privacy. It's on a main road. There's a pub on the corner that gets quite leery at the weekend. So there's all these things that people just couldn't get their around. It had so many viewings. And they ended up saying that, look, it's been great, but we just want a fresh approach. They went for this fresh approach and then 8 weeks, I think 8 or 12 weeks later or something like that, it still hadn't sold. So I just said to Kate in the office, just drop them an email, see how they're getting on. And they were so grateful that we got in touch. And they'd had a poor experience with the new agent. Obviously, the marketing wasn't great. They said the communication was really poor, and we wish we'd never changed. But they were literally on the verge of instructing another agent. They were thinking about having another agent. And the reason they were doing that is because they were too embarrassed to come back. And we were, and obviously Kate said, "Don't be daft. We've got everything done. We've got the marketing ready. We'll give it a bit of a refresh, and we'll relaunch it." And we did, and sold it. So I think you've got to some you'll lose, and they will sell with the other agents. There's always that risk, and obviously, I had one last year where they really just didn't. Again, it's a lesson learned sometimes. Went on at a high price, didn't take my advice, and went on with another agent. They're now at my price, and you just think, oh, what's going on here? So frustrating. So you're going to get it. You're going to get it, but I think it's just how you deal with it and how you react to that. And I think remain professional, keep in touch. And like I say, unless the relationship's gone, there's every chance you'll get it back.
Yeah, it's communication, isn't it? And that's where I think a lot of people fall down. And it's sometimes it hurts your ego, and sometimes you just have to. One of the biggest lessons I learned in estate agency was about 2.5-3 years ago when we really started stepping into the upper end of the prime space, and I got my first £3 million listing, and I learned so much about myself through that. And from that point on, I had a no dickhead policy. I was straight out there. It's a £3 million house, my name in lights, the video, this, that, and the other. And the clients were just complete dickheads. And I it might sound unprofessional saying it on here, but I'd quite happily go on record and say they were dickheads, because anyone I know that...
Do you want to name them?
Yeah. So they are Mr. and Mrs. Warburton from Bury.
That is really harsh on my mum and dad.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say that was your mum and dad, did I?
Oh.
Yeah. I said, look, these photos are amazing. He said, well, that's subjective. No, joking aside, they were energy vampires. They were just vile people. Everything I did, what really frustrated me about it all was, we put it on the market. Again, it was a classic where I'd said, let's do offers over 2.5. They said, well, we want to do 3. Yeah, I just put it up 500,000, no problem. We did the photos, we did the video, we did the brochure, it looked amazing, but they picked holes and everything, it wasn't light enough and this, that and the other. I'm like, mate, you've got a Wren kitchen in a £3 million house. Who are you to critique me? Do you know what I mean? But I literally, at the time, I was a bit of a nodding dog, like, yes, no problem. And as soon as they've got that power over you and the dynamic is they're there and you're down below, that's not what it's about. You've got to be the authority. You've got to be the expert in the room at all times. And, 100%. I learned a lot from, it cost me a lot of money. I disinstructed myself in the end because I just couldn't do it for my mental health more than anything else. And it went on with another agent. The photos were awful again, the floor plan, but, they were, 30 years older than me. So obviously they knew what they were doing. Reduced the price by 800,000 to 2.2 and sold. And it's like, well, funny that, isn't it? Funny when you reduce the price, somebody will actually come and see it. Arguably, the joke's on them because they undersold it. I had somebody in my back pocket that would have paid 2.5 for it. And as soon as they saw it go up to 3, they were like, nah, they bought someone else at 2.8 and game over. So they lost out big time. So just going back to our week, just briefly, one of the things I said I wanted to articulate that I think be quite good for the pod, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this have got children. So my son has been playing kids football for 6 months now. He's nearly 8.
Please tell me he's better than his dad.
Oh, yeah, it's not hard. Having said that though, I've been back into football now for about 2.5, 3 years, and I've gone from a 1 out of 10 to consistent 3 out of 10 now every Tuesday. So
we regularly learn about your goals and assists.
Yeah,
every quarter. It's usually every quarter.
To be fair, the last few weeks I've been on fire. To be fair, for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'm great. But I really noticed a difference without going too much of a tangent.
Ask, would the people that play with you verify this? Or?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. In fact, I've got a voice note here now.
Oh.
Yeah, James, mate, he's amazing. It's like watching Messi, a 6'4" Messi. Yeah, that is legit.
Was that Harry Redknapp?
That was legit.
Did you get him on Cameo?
Totally,
is that what it is?
Totally legit. That was. But no, jokes aside. So son's football. I've been going for 6 months. He was really apprehensive about going in the beginning. Then he found out another lad from school goes to the soccer school. Anyway, cut a long story short. His little mate from school is in another team as well, and they've been playing for 6 months. Anyway, at the weekend, one of the coaches had to drop out for illness, and the team was short as well, so we only had 6 players for a kids' 5-a-side team. So I had to jump into like the assistant coach's role, and I'd never really done this before, but I've been watching the kids play for from the sideline for 6 months, so you kind of get an idea of in every team who the kind of the more talented stars are, and what everyone does and doesn't do well. And we were chatting before the game, and he was like, right, I'm going to put, so we've got, I'll use their names, but it won't mean anything to anyone listening. But he goes, so I'm going to use Mila, and I'm going to use Michael at the back, at centre back, Ollie in goal, and then we'll go Harry, my son, in midfield, and then we'll start with Archie up front. Now, I've been watching these kids for 6 months, and I know that Mila, bless her, she's 7. She has got an absolute rocket of a shot on her right foot, but she can't defend very well. She's okay, but the ball is played back to her. She panics. So I said, well, look, let's put the 2 best ball players that are good at defending at the back. So I put Archie and Michael at the back, Harry in midfield. Again, Harry's not great, but in midfield, he's great at tackling and he can pass. So I said, look, got to get the kids at the sign of the start, and said, right, guys, look, this is where you're going to play. Harry, when you get the ball, all I want you to do is pass it to Mila. Mila, wherever you are, and bear in mind, this is a 7-year-old girl on a five-a-side kids pitch that will score from halfway. She's got a rocket on her. So I said, all you need to do, pass to Mila. Mila, if you get a chance, babe, shoot. I didn't say babe, but shoot. Don't sue me. Anyway, this is a team that's lost 6 in a row. And one of the coaches can be a little bit guilty, the one that wasn't there. He's quite a shouty coach, and he can be quite negative. You know, what are you doing? No, you don't do that. Da. Whereas I'm much more of a kind of a praisey kind of coach and an instruction shouty kind of coach. They'd lost 6 on the bounce, so the team were a little bit flat. We were 3 players short, and it was like and you watch the other little team warm up, and it was literally like watching a load of little Messies, like the way that they were warming up and well drilled. And we thought we were going to get hammered. Anyway, we were actually like in it for the first quarter, because you play in quarters in kids football, and we went 1-0 down. The heads dropped. I said, look, we hit the post about 4 or 5 times in that first quarter. And I said, guys, we're playing brilliant. You know, even though we were losing and we were going to probably get battered, it's like we're playing brilliant. You know, Ollie, bless him, in goal, had lost a bit of confidence recently because he'd hurt his fingers diving. I said, mate, you're brilliant in goal. You need to shout loud. The kids at the back, like, pass it to each other. You guys are doing brilliant. Anyway, I see their little faces like light up, like, yeah, I'm doing brilliant. Just keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, we won the game 2-1 in the end, and we hit the post about 10 times. But I think the lesson that I learned from then, you can transfer into a state agency, is having the right people in the right seats in the right positions, and making it easy for the right people to do their job. But also, like, the praise and recognition. Like, I think we talked about recently, one of the things I've been doing and trying to get more structured into is having more comms with my team and having like meetings and one-to-one aside, because I constantly talk to my team, but pulling people in and having what are you struggling with, how are you doing, what can we do to improve that better, where can we improve as a business. And I just think it's so important. As a small business, we can all be guilty of it, and I've got a lot of friends that are small business owners, and they forget about one-to-ones, and it's about keeping people on track. And the other thing as well, just talking about back to football, my son's been doing soccer school again for 7 months, and it's so unorganised when you get there. Like, everyone's on their pitches, but if you're new and you rock up, you've got no idea where to go. The amount of times where I've seen people lost with their kids, like their little kids nervous, and I'm like, I'll make a point of going up to somebody and just saying, are you looking for something specific? And they'll go, yeah, we're looking for year 3's football or year 2's football. We're starting this week. And I've been there a while now, so I'm like, oh yeah, that year 2's are over there, year 3's are over there. There's a guy that's going to come around with a clipboard. He'll sign you up, give you a form, put your details in. That's what happens. But again, just relating that back to a state agency, it's about having organised onboarding and setting expectations. So if your house is going on the market and you're setting up a WhatsApp group, telling people what happens. Obviously we've got the 16-step plan, which is great for that. But also when you set up the WhatsApp group, who's in the group, what are they for, what are their roles? Have you explained that to your clients? What's going to happen next? The lesson, I guess, for estate agencies is, you need a structured, welcoming approach from day one to set the tone for success. Because you don't, I think we all sit one side of the desk for so long. And I know, Dave, you sold your house fairly recently, wasn't COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2022.
We're the experts in the industry. But, when you're the other side of the desk as a seller, obviously with zero experience, having communications and setting expectations early can really set you up for success later on in the transaction, and having those crucial conversations. Was that just complete waffle, or does any of that make sense?
Well, I'm really glad there was a point to it. because it was going off on a quite. I'm sure there would be a lot of people cheering at the end, especially when you gave the scoreline
Yeah.
that you'd won 2-1. And I thought the point was going to be that you wanted the Chelsea job.
Oh, I mean, to be
at the end.
fair, there's always a chance.
Yeah, that you've come in, you've turned everything around. This coach wasn't there. You've just come in and you've done a great job, like a bit like a caretaker manager would. And then there's calls for him to get the job full time. I thought that's where you were going with it, but to then brilliantly relay it to sort of communication and in the estate agent industry, I thought was quite good. But the principle's right, JK. I think communication is key with everyone really, and it's something certainly I can improve on. But with the clients in particular, I mean, we've had a couple of really great reviews this week that have been left for us, and they've gone into. It's nice, isn't it, when you get a review that is not just "they were great, sold my house quick, thanks, we'll use again." You
Generic
get
Mancunian person.
Yeah, we got a couple this week where they've really got into detail. In fact, one's not even a review; they've only just gone under offer. And she sent a really nice text in the group to all the team saying that she just cannot believe the difference between us and the previous agent. And she was basically saying that they're very local, this particular agent. They've got they boast about having a big reach and all that sort of stuff. And they're on the market with them 6 months. And I hear from you guys every single day. That's what a point was. And everything's been fantastic. And then somebody else said the same and left a review. He completed on his house yesterday. It's nice to get that, and I think it's massively important. It goes back to that tone of voice thing and communicating well. It's one of the big things that will set you apart, and it's something also that I'm going off on one a little bit here, but it's something that you can't necessarily advertise. It's difficult to.
It is difficult to articulate.
It is, and it's like I always say this about the if you ever get a slight fee objection or anything like that. I'm trying to articulate what goes into putting a house on the market with us. It's a big operation.
But the thing is, though, mate, I get that, but it's more than that as well. And one of the ways that I've been again articulating this to people is that it's the front end things that you can see, touch, feel. So yes, the front end of the operation is well organized, well structured. There's a lot of time, money, and effort that goes into it. But it's more than that. That's just the front end. You're not going to know how good of an agent I am until after we've sold your house. Yes, exactly. We've negotiated you an offer, and we've got you in a position where you want to be financially. But I suppose it's almost like having a brain surgeon. And having, and here comes an analogy that I've just thought off the top of my head. This could go anywhere and this could go horribly wrong. But imagine having two brain surgeons side by side. They're just brain surgeons. And then, it's been able to show the difference when, you're on the operating table and all that part, that front end stuff that you can see where, you've got your gown on and this, that, and the other. But when you're actually under anaesthetic, do you want the brain surgeon that's an expert and knows what they're doing, or do you want the one that's got the manual out going, that'll be all right. We'll just cut that bit there, And it's probably a bit of a random analogy, which is, obviously what I'm famous for. But, if you put it to, brain surgery, your health, and, securing your house sale, and it's all about knowing those success stats. And we talked about it on the mastermind with Gatesy. Average agent in the area for 2024 was, exchanging on around 48% where I am, and we're exchanging on about 88%. So, you might be able to get someone that can get you under offer, but there's only a 48% chance that you're actually going to move. So, do you want to leave it to a flip of a coin, or do you want a nearly 90% chance?
Yeah. It's really important. Like I say, it's difficult to get it across until you've actually done it. But we get regular feedback after the event, sort of say, I can't believe how much has gone into that. It's so well done, and everybody works so hard. We had one this week saying the same thing, and it's difficult unless you're properly documenting it. But again, the feedback that you get at the end is so crucial, and then you kind of need to. I mean, I'll be honest, JK, we've been I wouldn't say poor, but we should have way more reviews than we have, given the business we've done over the last 8 or 9 years. And it's so important, and
Can
that
I
you
ask you a
get
quick question on
good.
reviews? And it's something that Gatesy brought up at our latest mastermind.
He's great at getting them, by the way.
We've had great success with a little tweak that he gave us, and I don't know if it's his actual doing or whether he's stole it off somebody else, but we'll credit him. Is that so do you ask for reviews?
Yes.
And when do you ask for them?
Well, this is the key. So we probably ask too quick on when everybody's stressed moving. There needs to be a check-in process afterwards, within a couple of weeks. I did one last week, funnily enough. That we had a completion last week where I dropped her a message, said, "Listen, thanks for using us again. It's been great. Hope you were happy with everything. All the best with your move. See you soon." And it was just like there was a quick. This epitomizes the moving day. She just reacted. Do you know, on WhatsApp?
Thumbs up.
Put a thumbs up. And then just yesterday, she replied, "Hi, Dave. Sorry, it's been absolutely bedlam. Just want to say thanks for everything. It's been great. I'll use you twice now. I'll definitely use you again and recommend you. And of course, I'll leave a review." And she's done that for us. And we've had a couple more like that as well. But the key is, I know Ian has it as part of his process. I think he has one of the team. I think it's Vicky will call every completion after a couple of weeks. I'm guessing this might be where you're going, JK. But after a couple of weeks after the event, make sure the move went well. Do you need any help? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, I've got you. Do you mind if you... Because at that point, they're settled in and they can reflect and go, yeah, of course, I'll leave you a review. I've been really happy. But on that day of moving, you've just got no chance.
That's not where I was going.
Okay, well, my point was better than yours.
But equally valid point. But also, so we were asking for reviews on completion before, which I think is what you've been doing. Like you say, it's bedlam, moving day. Congratulations on completing. Will you leave us a review? We've tweaked that, and we're now asking for reviews on exchange. So congratulations, you've exchanged. But then one of the crucial things that Gatesy brought up that has been worked wonders for us is, would you mind leaving us a review today? Would you do us a small favour? And the key in this is today. Could I ask a small favour? Would you mind just taking 2 minutes and leaving us a review today? And then because I've been putting it in the groups myself, and saying, P.S. full disclosure, the team do get a small bonus for a good review, and my team all get, if they mentions their name, they get a £10 bonus in their wages. So nice. if everyone gets mentioned, so if Matt, Chloe, Sandra, Jack all get mentioned, it all goes, in their PayPal. It's not massive, but it could be between 10 and 50 quid a month. But it just goes to show that you're incentivizing good service rather than just sell. But today is the crucial part of it. The other thing you could do, just thinking about it, obviously, we've all got Spectre email now. If you've got your old vendors on the system, you could set up an email campaign and say like a review campaign on Spectre email marketing, and go back to them and say, how was it? How was your experience? Would you mind leaving us a review?
Well, do you know what? We've actually just last week I put some emphasis on this to say we need to go back and get a few, which we will. Because we've got some good loyal clients as well, people that follow us on Facebook and things like that, always comment on our posts and stuff like that. So I've said we're actually going to make a proactive approach to doing it, and we've set up a template on an SMS as well. So once we've had the call, we're actually going to phone people to say how you're getting on, because that's another, it's been 2 years since you moved, blah, blah, blah. How's things? Do you need an up-to-date valuation? Oh, I noticed you never left us a review. Do you mind doing it now? That'd be great. Follow up with an SMS, and it's got the link on to make it as easy as possible. All that sort of stuff. So we're going to do that. But I think what I'm going to implement, I like what you've just said there. I think you can probably combine the two a little bit. But could you leave us a review now? I really like, possibly on exchange. But what I also wanted to introduce was, so my team is set up. So we've mainly got Pauline and Kate who chase the pipeline, and they're incredible at doing that. They build up great relationships, and I always make the joke to my clients that when you go through our reviews, you'll very rarely see my name. It's always Pauline and Kate, because they're the ones that have the relationship with the client for that 16-week period where it's stressful, and they're just really good and calm at keeping everything together. So I think what I'm going to do is each of those two, if they've looked after that client, they diarise a call for 2 weeks after completion, and then they just call that person to say, "Hope your move went well. How is everything? Have you settled in? Do you need any help?" And then obviously, would you mind leaving us a review? And I think, like I say, just this week, having had two in quick succession, it's worked beautifully. Just to get those reviews after the point that it's actually happened.
Can I just say as well, just going back to, and this isn't an advert for Spectre email, but one of the things that we're currently building in our Spectre email, and I've got it already for Exchange, is that on the system, because it feeds into Street, on Exchange it says, "Congratulations, you've exchanged contracts. Here's what to prepare for on moving day," like a brief email for that. Having it on there as well. How was your experience? Leave us a review.
Do you know what, JK? Sorry to interrupt. It's a great strategy in a way. I'm just thinking about it now with the exchange side of it, because what's your overall feeling?
It's a high. It's relief.
Yeah, it's a massive high, isn't it? So if you get that, you're like, "Oh yes, great with exchange, hugs and everything, high fives, have a glass of champagne. Yeah, guys, what an experience this has been. Thank you so much." Da, da, da.
Make it easy though as well. Our message is a templated message, and it's a g.page review or bit.ly link in the group. So people can literally just click it, give you 5 stars, give you a brief review, bosh, job done. Make it easy.
Yeah.
But
just do it. Just do it.
And it's the same, just little tip as well. If you're using Spectre email systems, like for growing your social media following, anyone that you're registering, that you're emailing out match results, add on your notifications on within Street or in Spectre if you're emailing people. Follow us on social media to see all the latest properties first, and have 2 little links to your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, or your LinkedIn. And it's just a nice way of just another link out there in the universe. And I think I said at the mastermind, we've grown our Facebook following by 2,500 in about 3.5 months. Some of that's to do with the reels and the strategy we've been using, but I think it's everything in combination.
Yeah. It is. It comes down to that marketing mix, doesn't it? Right, mate. We're approaching the end. We've got another call at 10:30, so we'll need to wrap it up for those listening. It is now 10:25.
Yeah.
As always, James have just gone on and on. Dead quick. I think some people I've been speaking to in the industry this week are light on valuations and instructions this month. I know we've had it was half term in March, wasn't it? I'm losing
Feb.
Was it Feb that? So maybe on the back of that. Obviously, it's kind of the end of winter, and we're moving towards the spring market, which generally speaking is busy. What I would say is, if you're quiet, I am hearing off multiple agents across the country. They have been similar on both valuations, instructions, and sales. So if you are busy, great. If you're not, I wouldn't worry, because you're not on your own. But just make sure that your lead gen strategy is consistent. We always bang on about it, having a consistent lead gen strategy. Keep doing the same things, and the fruits of your label will come. I have to say, JK, we've had some quieter times. We've had consistent months this year, and they've been great. I can't complain at all. But there's been a lot of slow burners, and as I said to you, my diary's about to pop, and we're going to be extremely busy over certainly the early part of spring, and obviously the exponential effect of that is likely to be vast. So I'm excited about going into spring and summer. But equally, when you look at the latest Rightmove House Price Index, it's hardly surprising in some respects, because you look at, bear in mind that the headline this month is there's a decade high choice to benefit spring buyers. And that's the key. You're an estate agent who's selling properties. There's a decade high choice to benefit spring buyers. And the average price of a property coming to the market for sale rises by 1.1%. So we've got a decade high choice of properties for sale, yet sellers are putting the prices up. I know they're looking at all the buyers coming to the market, but there's too many houses for sale. It should be really coming the other way if you want to start moving and be keenly priced. So that's a big thing. And it says here as well, while new spring buyers will not beat this month's stamp duty deadline, they will benefit from the highest property choice at this time of year since 2015. So buyers will be smelling deals. And I think you've really got to get into your clients about being competitively priced and learn that skill of getting them to come outside the comfort zone a bit.
But your stock as well. Look at your. I think any exercise for anyone listening to this that's light on sales, that's got plenty on the market. Have a look at your Rightmove page and look at how many you've got for sale and how many you've got sold and what's the ratio. We're running at around 68% at the moment, and that's only going to improve shortly.
But also, we monitor and we talk about it with our members, but monitor your on-market fees. It's exciting usually. If you've got 10 houses on the market and you've got an average fee of £3,500, there's 35,000 pounds there. A couple of grand even. Did I say 10? What have I said then? What were my maths?
3,000. Average fee 3,000.
if you're at the lower to mid end, is what I'm saying, and your average fee is only £3,500, and you've got 10 houses for sale, there's 35 grand to go at. So get it out. Get him out. Work your stock. But if you're at mid to higher end, I mean, it's big numbers. You're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds. So look at your stock. Really work your stock. Use the tools at your disposal. So the Rightmove House Price Index. It's not land registry data, of course, so it's not official prices, but it's real-time trends. This is how people are performing. So some of my vendors, I'd be saying there's a decade-high choice to benefit spring buyers, yet we're at a 10-year high. There's too many houses on the market, and your average seller is putting the house price up when there's so much choice for buyers. What you should do is be more priced more competitively. You've got a great saying, JK. Don't sell in competition. Try and sell in isolation, and to stand out. Really,
cheers, Tom Panos.
to stand out, really, to be that property in isolation. Be more competitive on price, and the key here is just because you're competitive on asking price doesn't mean you're going to sell it for that. You just say no if the price is not right. But what it'll do is usually bring more interest to the door, more competition amongst buyers. And what would you rather be? A seller who's got one person to go at, or a seller who's got competition for your property? It's an obvious choice. And that old saying, a vendor never knows what they'll accept until it's real. So give them decisions to make, but work your stock. Use the stuff that's at your disposal. That's what I would say.
Just one really quickly as well. I know we've had a lot of success with members, and you and Ian personally. I haven't sent any out this month yet, and I told you why. Is the on-market letters that we give to our members. Ian's had a great strike rate. I think he sent, 15, 20 out the other week and got 6 vals back, and literally all of them have instructed.
Yeah, and by the way, that's come off the back of having very few in the first 3 to 6 months. But a lot of these people have been receiving his quarterly letter and his monthly letter, and we're the same. So people will send a letter and not get anything. Look, especially if cash flow is tight. If there's 250 houses on the market in your area that've been on since, like, say, they're coming up to the 5th or 6th week, and you've got to write a letter that's compelling, and you've got to go and buy 300 stamps and 300 envelopes, and then you send all them out and get nothing back. It can feel deflating, but the reality is you've got to do it 4 or 5 times.
Exactly that. Right, mate. Well, we need to jump off because we've got a call. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening. Ian, thanks very much for your input. Oh, cheers, lads.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. I'm just sorry I'm stuck at this bomb conversion.
As always, if you do enjoy the podcast, please share it with a friend or industry colleague. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.